When did the I crave attention kid go too far? He drank an entire bottle of vodka at lunch and was kicked out of school. An entire bottle? He didn't die first. No, from what I heard he threw up and was taken to the hospital. This happened at my school as well during junior year. The poor kid had to get his stomach pumped because he had gotten alcohol poisoning. He was a jerk. I had a couple of pet goats and he would come over and bully them all the time. He'd poke them through the fence with sticks, throw rocks at them, spook them with loud noises, but he'd never go into the pen. He was too scared of them. He should have known better. He was 16. One day we are all inside and we hear this blood-curdling scream. In comes the kid, screaming at the top of his lungs. The goat is after me. Help. We turn to see the big billy goat staring at him through the sliding glass door. Every once in a while it'd headbutt the glass. Now this was a very docile animal. He'd have never hurt a fly, but he was out for that boy's blood. It turns out that the kid had been torturing the goat. He had him pinned up against the wall of the pen throwing rocks and sticks at its testicles to see if he could hit them. The goat came after him, scaled the fence, and chased him across 3 acres of land and into the house. The kid waited for 2 hours for the goat to go away, but it never did. Anytime he opened a door to try to sneak away, the goat was right there trying to attack him. Eventually the goat disappeared and the kid tried to sneak out a window feet first and once again started screaming because the goat was right there headbutting his backside as he climbed out. It was absolutely liberating. Little brother is a few years younger than me. He used to come into my room to harass me all the time and my parents never allowed me to have a lock. He was around 10 when I started propping a piano stand under my door knob to keep people out. I'm so sick of people saying it was a fire hazard. You'd use whatever you could do if your parents never knocked, and your brother used to shoot you with their soft guns. Little brother pushed the door and the piano stand was at the knob. I ignored it before all I heard was the loudest bang followed by a thud. I opened the door to see him laying on the floor, holding his face and crying. Apparently, he decided that he could break down my door like in the movies by throwing himself against it after running from down the hall. But this dumbass didn't just throw his shoulder or kick it. He threw his entire body against it like a squirrel going for a tree. Arms and legs out, face ducking first. I got blamed for it, but it was worth it. Only time I ever laughed that hard at his expense again was when he tried to fart into my room and shat himself about 2 years later. That last part is a very definition of a critical failure. A girl once punched herself in the gut at her little brother's b-day party and threw up just so people would notice her. That's commitment. Mama didn't raise no quitter. Started angrily pumping weights when we were chilling at someone's house. Threatened to shave his head and then tore his shirt off of his body. Did he drink a Monster? And was his name Kyle? Not Op, but it definitely sounds like Kyle Nonek behavior. There was this girl for a while that had this huge crush on me, and she didn't seem to realize that she had been a total jerk to me for most of my life, and that I really disliked her. Finally she decided to get my attention by stealing my $300 leather jacket and saying that she wouldn't give it back unless I went out with her. So I contacted her mom and told her that if she didn't intervene, then my parents were going to press charges. The day after she gave my jacket back, she sent me this long ass text talking about how I hurt her so badly and it would take a long time to earn back her trust. I replied by saying I don't want you to trust me, I want you to leave me alone. And we haven't spoken since. He was a massive jerk. One day we had a supply in science and he got up on the desk, whipped his P.P out and yelled I'm Gand. He then ran out of the classroom. He went to a special needs school 2 months later. That mother ducker. A teacher friend of mine told me once about a student she had who cut a hole in the pocket of his jeans so he could stick his P.P through it, and when the teacher wasn't looking he'd poke it out through the pocket and thrust it towards the girls in class. Finally one day she caught him in the act and he got either suspended or kicked out. IDR. Why? Great question, but I don't think I want to understand his. Mincetle mayo. I was at my friend's house. I was bored and started playing Portal 2 on his Xbox. After a while my other friend's sister, who mind you treated attention like a drug, burst into the room and starts screaming at me like we were dating and in a fight. My friend was there too and just watched. Every time I would tell her to leave she would get louder. She has a crush on you and wants your attention. He dodged a bullet getting the breakup screaming match over before the relationship began. When I was in middle school, our friend group had an attention-seeking girl. She was generally alright for a middle schooler, hormonal teenage aside, but we could all tell she was a bit troubled. She would lie about everything. She made up family members that didn't exist, tried to claim that every dark-haired thin female extra in a music video that only appeared for a split second was her, and all sorts of other things. For example, once, she dug a huge bloody hole in her lip and claimed that her brother punched her, except she didn't have a brother. One day, she started texting us about how she's drunk, cut her arms up, and is trying to put things like Sharpie ink into the cuts so that it would poison her and kill her. Naturally, we all panicked. One of the girls in our group decided to call the police, and she ended up being put in some sort of a mental hospital for a while. When she came back, she was super pissed at us and refused to speak to any of us. I guess she didn't get the reaction she wanted. She showed no physical signs of the kind of self-harm she claimed to have done to herself either. Some kid shat on the ducking toilet seat. A week later he shat in the sink. I don't get why people liked him. As someone that worked as a bathroom janitor, I ducking hate people that do that type of stuff. No one that does that cares or thinks about the cleanup. Ducked a horse and took a video of it, bragged to a couple other weirdos about the horse ducking. They sent themselves the video off his phone and it went around the whole school enlisted right after graduation, probably to escape horse ducker reputation. It would take more than one guy to duck a horse, allegedly. She told the whole school that some dude got her pregnant with twins and that she had an abortion. She printed pictures of ultrasounds off the internet and put balloons on his locker on the twins' birthday. Jokes on her because she didn't cut the aerial off one of the ultrasound pictures. That's next level of dumbness. There used to be a guy in my class that would do anything for attention. The other guys in class liked to make him do dumb stuff and he always thought he somehow proved himself. He did things like cutting of his hair during lessons, touch girls where he shouldn't, and start fire alarms just for fun. One day he got caught masturbating in the cafeteria, twice. I just imagine him sneaking back into the cafeteria with shifty eyes. He was this annoying popular kid who loved getting attention, and in 6th grade he set a bathroom trash can on fire, so the entire school had to stand out in the snow for like 10 minutes, and then we sat in the gym for another 15. SMH what a dumbus. Edit, didn't expect to get this many upvotes, because this is my first comment. Same situation but our worried kid set the bathroom trash can on fire in 12th grade. Twerked in front the classroom. Happened to me too. 7th grade, a girl named Narnia. WTF. Dude, that's not even the most ridiculous name I've heard. When you start putting punctuation in your kid's name, you know you ducked up. I knew a pathological liar in high school. She would tell you one thing one day and something the complete opposite the next. For example, one day she tells me about a threesome she had. The very next day she tells me she's a virgin. Which one is it, lady? Not the worst thing ever, but way back in middle school, I was about 3 football fields away from the school itself. It had a large grass field behind it that we occasionally had to run to the end on. And the friend I was with passed out. I carried her back to the school and the moment I got to the nurse's office she was miraculously better and felt fine. There was a kid on our school bus who needed way too much attention. He was constantly screaming or throwing stuff out the window. He at one point reenacted giving birth the whole ride, complete with legs spread, screaming, fake pushing, etc. One day he threw a water bottle and hit a car. He was banned from the bus for the year. The next year he was allowed back on. In the first week he pulled out a needle and pierced his lower lip while on the bus. Of course it was bumpy, so he didn't get it centered, so he did it again to even it out. He was banned from the bus again. Maybe he just really hated the bus.